Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. I should probably get my apologies out of the way right at the start for those of you who are about to fall victim to the kind of shenanigans that are going to be on display in today's video over the course of the weekend, because I guarantee, as soon as this video goes out, somebody's going to be trying it. Or it's possible it's already happening. Some of you may already witness what the rest of us are about to see in today's video, for it is none other than Statsbloke, here in the Paolo Emilio, and Overlord Bow in the Michelangelo. While Statsbloke was slumming it on the North American server, as he is wont to do, this was actually being streamed on both of their Twitch channels. So it is entirely possible that some of you have already seen this and already know what's about to happen. What we have here today is essentially a meme division. It isn't the first time I've shown this sort of thing. I can remember in particular. I can't remember who it was, but somebody had the genius idea of forming a 3-ship division led by, I think it was the Richthofen German aircraft carrier, the one with the really, really good secondaries, and divisioned up with a couple of German destroyers. I think it was the German destroyers in particular that were important, I mean as well as the Richthofen because of its amazing secondaries. But the German destroyers, not just because they come with smokescreen generators, but they also have excellent long range and long duration hydro. And the basic gist was, the carrier never bothered launching any aircraft and just steamed around the map under the cover of the destroyer's smokescreen, blasting targets left, right and centre with its amazing secondaries, while the destroyers spotted for it with their amazing hydro and just torpedoed anything that got close enough to see what was going on inside the smoke. Yeah. What you're going to see today is kind of a variation on that. In fact, I've also seen a meme division, and I think this was Flambas, of 3 Napolis, the Italian heavy cruiser, with the high-speed smoke steaming around, again not using their main gun batteries in order to remain undetected within the smoke, and instead lighting everything up with the secondaries and the torpedoes, which was also kind of funny. The thing is, both of these strategies can easily be outdone by the simple application of a little bit of radar or some counter hydro on the enemy team. And while both of these strategies are definitely funny, I mean they're good for a laugh, they're not amazingly effective even when there's no radar or hydro present. The major striking power of the Napoli, for example, isn't its secondaries or its torpedoes, it's its guns. And it's the same deal with a couple of destroyers escorting a Richthofen around. I mean, yeah, the Richthofen secondaries are good, but they're not as good as its aircraft. And having a pair of destroyers tied to the coattails of a very, very slow-moving carrier, because let's not forget, for the Richthofen to stay within the smoke, both it and the destroyers providing smoke for it have to be moving at 1/4 throttle. So, fun, yes. Funny, hell yes. Effective, the jury's out on that one. What you're about to see today, however, is fun, funny, and effective. And it all relies on a couple of factors. Mostly the Paolo Emilio, although the Michelangelo that Overlord Bow is sailing is also very important, because the Michelangelo is the one drawing all the fire. This is the big decoy. Nobody knows that Statsbloke, who is in the Paolo Emilio and playing on his North American community contributor account, which is why he's not called Statsbloke, he's called World of Warships, you get the idea. None of those enemy ships up to the north, none of which have radar, are aware that Statsbloke is here. They can all see Overlord Bow in the Michelangelo because they're supposed to see him. He's the bait. Now what you're about to see works obviously very well with the Michelangelo, although not everybody can get their hands on a Michelangelo. Oh dear, the friendly Pommen is not looking very happy, is he? Actually, this is going to work in their favour, because those guys up to the north are... I mean, a Pommen is a powerful ship. And now that it's dead, it's no longer a deterrence to those enemy ships up to the north, who are right now looking at their minimap and saying, oh, this flank's wide open. There's nothing down there but a Michelangelo, and we're all big, strong battleships. Ha 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 ha. Little do they know. And like I was saying, this strategy obviously works very well with the Michelangelo, but the Michelangelo isn't the easiest ship to get your hands on. It would probably work very, very well with any other Italian heavy cruiser, because both ships in this division, all you can do with 3 ships in the division, try doing this with 2 Paolo Emiliolos, it would be even funnier. But every ship in the division needs to have the high-speed smoke generator, including the decoy, which today is obviously being played by Overlord Bow in the Michelangelo. And Italian heavy cruisers in particular, I mean, there are Italian battleships that also have the high-speed smoke, but you'd also really ideally have to pick an Italian battleship that not only has the high-speed smoke, but also has very good secondaries, and unfortunately, I don't think any of them have torpedoes. So you could use an Italian battleship with a high-speed smoke, because not every one of them gets it, as the bait in this kind of meme division. But a cruiser would be better. Michelangelo if you've got one, Napoli if you've got one, or you can get one. Failing that, Brindisi would probably work just as well. It does need to be high tier though, because while it's fine for the Paolo Emilio to get up tiered in a division with a tier 10 cruiser, you really don't want to be bringing a tier 7 or 8 cruiser into this kind of fight, because those are enemy battleships, and, you know, armour overmatch is a thing. You need the cruiser to at least have a chance of surviving what's about to happen, because it is about to happen. They're spotted. That, unfortunately, probably means the sole destroyer on the enemy team is over on this flank, which is unfortunate, but, well, yep, there is torpedoes. Well, he had his chance, and he blew it. Here we go. The second they clear this island, remember, none of them know that Stats is here in the Paolo Emilio. They all know the Michelangelo is here, and they're all gunning for him. And that's kind of the point. Spotted again. There goes the high-speed smoke. Choo-choo, motherfucker! You see what we're doing here? The Michelangelo is not only acting as bait, he's also acting as the mothership for the Paolo Emilio. Obviously, Bow isn't going to be firing his main gun batteries because that will just get him spotted, rendering the smoke useless. He's letting his secondaries do the talking for the moment. And what we're actually doing here is, you can see that Stats Bloke is keeping pace with Bow's smokescreen. Basically what we have here, Bow in the cruiser is the Battlestar Galactica, and Stats Bloke in the destroyer is the Galactica's Viper squadrons. You see, those guys all think, oh, here comes the suicidal cruiser. Ho, 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 we're going to have him. Yeah, but are you? Are you sure about that? Around about now, they've just realised, oh shit, he's got a destroyer with him. And it's not just any destroyer, it's the YOLO Emilio. And this is the kind of thing that the YOLO Emilio is famous for, just not on this scale. You see this destroyer doing this sort of thing against one enemy battleship all the time. 2, maybe, but coming out of it beaten to within an inch of its life. 3, suicide. And that's why you can't do this alone. You need a cruiser with you to act as the bait, giving you the element of surprise. And the cruiser, as you can see, is doing all right. I mean, this is obviously far more dangerous for the cruiser than it is for the destroyer. Because, well, the cruiser has a citadel, and these are battleships you're going up against. I've taken control of the camera here, by the way, trying to catch everything that's going on. Stats nailed the bungo. Bow's finished off the Lion. That just leaves the Columbo, who's just run out of friends and hit points. I mean, obviously, you know, any pretense of stealth is out of the window now, at least for Bow. Stats, however, still hidden. He's just triggered his high-speed smoke. Can you imagine what's going through the head of the Christopher Columbo captain right now? Because less than a minute ago, he had 2 tier 9 and 10 battleship buddies with him. He had all of his hit points, and all he was facing was a cruiser. Oh, and there it is, the black. You know what? His radar could have come in handy earlier, couldn't it? Oh, and he's dead too. Oh, a couple of things. Stats Bloke is perfectly safe here. Bao, on the other hand, not so much, because his damage control is on cooldown, he's got a double fire burning. However, even though his smoke is also still on cooldown, he doesn't need to use it, because the cyclone has just closed in. Saved by the weather, visibility is now down to 8 kilometers. So even though there is an enemy Napoli and a Yoshino right over there, when the fires burnt out just a fraction of a second before the damage control became available, and Bao was left on less than 2,000 hit points, and neither of those two enemy heavy cruisers were able to take advantage of it because the cyclone had reduced visibility. Oh, they can see him now though, they're within 8 kilometers and just in time for the heal to come off cooldown. And yet, well, the Yoshino at least is not looking this way. Now that could mean that he's launched torpedoes, but if that's the case, well, there's a nice handy convenient island here to hide behind, which also allows Bao to recover some hit points without getting shot at. Now the odd thing about the Michelangelo, which you might have already noticed, is its gun placement, because those turrets at the front are actually secondaries. The main gun batteries are those two things located midships, fore and aft, of the funnel, which means the Michelangelo has to expose an uncomfortable amount of skirt in order to get both of those gun turrets firing. And yet for some reason, maybe he's just launched torpedoes, but the Yoshino doesn't appear to be interested in shooting back. Even Stats is getting in on the action now with the Paolo Emiliolo's terrible guns. Sure enough, there are the torpedoes. This is not a problem, and there goes the Yoshino. And there's the General Offensive Award for both of them, which is, you know, nice. Now, where did that Napoli go? You can see somebody's in the cap circle. Ah, actually, that's the Miasma. The Napoli seems to be going after the friendly carrier, and despite being in a cyclone, he's almost certainly close enough to have spotted him and be shooting at him. A couple of things here, though. The carrier's an Essex, and it can drop its own smoke, and you can see the line of smoke up ahead, so... the other thing, of course, is I don't think that Napoli realises that he's not just running into the Essex, he's also got a Jaeger on him, and a Blucher, and a Grosser Kurfürst, although he's probably just realised, oh, he's managed to finish off the Jaeger. Yeah, the Napoli secondaries ain't bad. I don't think he's going to survive the encounter with the Essex, the Blucher, and the Grosser Kurfürst as well, though. Nope, he's dead. Now, there is somebody in this cap circle, or there was. And with visibility, again, cyclone down to 8 kilometers, Stats is the first one to get eyes on him. Well, he's not the first one to get eyes on him because the Miasma was exchanging shots with the Blucher. The Blucher was the first one to get eyes on him, but the return fire tracer from the Miasma was guiding Stats straight towards the target. And again, while the Miasma does have really big guns of its own, it's engaged in a frontal duel with something else that has really big guns, and the Miasma is a cruiser, so it cannot afford to turn and give broadside, allowing Stats to basically sit here and take his time, waiting out this horrendously long reload on the Paolo Emilio's terrible guns, all while Bao is steaming up close enough to actually get within 8 kilometers and see what everybody else is shooting at, and get the opportunity to join in the fun himself. The Miasma has actually taken down the Blucher, so, you know, good job, I suppose, but that was actually a close quarters expert award. The main gun battery shots were in the air, but it was the secondaries that finished off the Miasma. That's a Kraken Unleashed, by the way, for Overlord Bao. And that leaves just 2 enemy ships remaining, the Neptune and the enemy carrier. The enemy team have an Essex of their own. Bao is actually within shooting range of the Neptune, although only just, but because there's a cyclone in effect, he's not within spotting range, not even close. Stats, however, is considerably faster. And even though the Neptune just managed to get a torpedo kill on the friendly Thunderer, well, it is just a Neptune. That thing is made out of citadels, as are all of the British light cruisers, and it gets smashed by the friendly Iowa right after Stats manages to get a quick salvo off himself, leaving just the enemy carrier, and there's no way the enemy carrier is pulling this back. That, of course, doesn't mean that he's required to make it easy for us. So there's 2 ways this could go down. I mean, technically there are 3 ways this could go down, but it's not an episode of A Game of Throws, so we're going to limit it to just the 2. The team could very easily win by capping out here. There's plenty of time. Most of them are right in or next to the enemy cap circle, so that's always an option. And it's probably the safest option. But where's the fun in that? When you're in something as fast as the Paolo Emiliolo, I mean, he's doing 45 knots. And that's without the engine boost running. He's got the swift and silent skill, but he's also manoeuvring. I mean, this thing will get up to not far short of 50 knots without an engine boost. If anybody can find that carrier, it's going to be Stats in this ship. The problem is nobody really has any clear idea where the carrier is, because he's certainly not where he was last spotted. And while at this precise moment I think Stats was thinking to himself, I'll just win by capping here, enemy torpedo bombers were just spotted on the minimap. They did just get shot down by the friendly Varese up to the north. I'm not even sure how you pronounce that thing. Varese? I don't know, whatever, some Italian thing. Sorry, Italy. But remember, the Essex has a smokescreen. And that's a very, very suspicious looking smokescreen over there, isn't it? So I think by attempting to hide his location, the Essex has just given away his location. I mean, he could be playing the long game here and being incredibly sneaky by laying the smoke where he isn't and then sending his attack aircraft squadron out the long way around so that the trail doesn't point straight back to where he was. But it's not likely, is it? I mean, it's possible, but not likely. Especially since the cyclone is now lifting and visibility is once again being restored. And oh, there goes the dive bomber squadron, and there goes a fresh smoke screen. I think at this point, the carrier player realises that not being seen is more important than decoying people away from where he actually is. But honestly, I think that ship has sailed. Because if there's one ship that is... Look at the speed he's doing. He's nearly doing 60 knots. Dive bombers have spotted him. There go the enemy secondaries, which means he is really close now. Essex, bend over, grab your ankles, and kiss your ass goodbye, because you're not surviving this. He didn't even need the high-speed smoke. Boom, headshot, there it goes. Devastating strike for Stats, coordinated attack, and brothers in arms for Stats and Bow. To go with the Kraken Unleashed that Bow also achieved earlier. Despite the great number of kills for Bow, though, it was Stats in the Paolo Emiliolo who actually topped the leaderboard on XP, purely due to the greater amount of damage. But neither of them could have achieved that if they hadn't been working together. So, thanks to Stats Bloke and Overlord Bow, you've all just witnessed, if you hadn't seen it already on their respective live streams, just how meme-worthy this kind of division is with a single Italian heavy cruiser and a single Paolo Emilio. Now, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. But I'm just saying, imagine the fun you could have with a single Italian heavy cruiser and two Paolo Emiliolos. Like I said, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, I'm just planting seeds here. And if you see an Italian heavy cruiser in a division with one or more Paolo Emilios, well, good luck with that, and don't say I didn't warn you. And thank you, of course, to both Stats Bloke and Overlord Bow for providing this hilarious and, at the same time, educational double replay in today's World of Warships video. Thank you both. Links to both of their channels down below in the video description. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'm fairly sure most, if not all of you, were probably amused by it. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.